right, everybody, we are live, and I'm just going to say this. We're here for you because I feel like that's what you need. That's now a trio of 2-1 losses to the Portland Timbers, and I feel like this one hurts the most. This is the 110 Instant Reaction Show in partnership with Adidas. I am Vince LaRosa. Next to me is my co-host, Connor Kolopsis. Farther along is the defenders of the Banc, JR and Philly. We were here for you in pregame. We said we would be here for you no matter what in postgame, and here we are.
I'm not here for you guys. I just want to make that perfectly clear. I'm here with you guys.
Okay, Thank you. When you say that, why?
I am so angry right now.
Okay, go for it.
I am so angry at LAFC. I'm so angry at Murillo. I am so angry at Portland. I am so angry at the referees. The list could go on and on. You know, my grades aren't good at school.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
I heard your marriage is pretty tough.
It is.
Yeah.
My dog's dead.
Whoa.
I'm kidding.
Oscar?
The mortgage and the interest rates keep coming up on your variable arm.
Wait, what?
Wow. I don't know. I mean, we're reaching for things.
Yeah, you just blacked in and out of your day job, right?
But really, I'm an emotional mess right now.
Yeah, like
I don't.
Is it because you can't condense? There's so many feelings.
There's so many feelings and so many things that happen this game that would get me angry that I don't even know where to start nor form full sentences.
Is that and that's basically just the story of the year.
Yeah.
And realistically, the reason why you feel this bad is because like we really shouldn't be thinking that a game with this many games left is going to possibly end our season, right?
Well, we talked about it in pregame, right? Is this do or die? It felt like we died a little out there today. That's for sure. I mean, it was rough. Portland and LAFC played a great 75-minute soccer match.
Yeah.
The last 15 minutes, it was the worst theater I've ever seen.
I mean, I don't know if it was much of a soccer match. There was a lot. I mean, the referee did not have that much to do with it, but Joseph Dickerson in this match was absolute hot garbage.
Yeah.
The way he started calling the match and then decided to play out from there, Portland was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, you're giving it to us. Exactly.
We love this. We will muck up this game. We will make it terrible for you. But I like your point that the last 15 minutes were
hot mess,
tough to watch, and I think we'll get deeper into that. Philly, you've been kind of quiet over there. I think you're trying to put everything together. What do you got from me?
I mean, yeah, it was a shocking result. It really was. I thought we had all the momentum in our way. We were knocking on Steve Clark's door. We were doing all the right things. Raheem Edwards looked pretty good. Chicho was connecting with Cheeky, and Cheeky was connecting with Chicho, and Michi was doing quite well. But what a frustrating matchup. Like, I didn't like Portland prior to this matchup. I hate Portland now. We call them the pesky pine trees. They were more like pine combs. They weren't timbers. They were a bunch of weeping willows for the last 15, 20 minutes of this game. It was beyond frustrating. Diego Valeri, I think, spent more time on the freaking ground than he did running in the game.
Well, there's a lot of timbering.
Aggravating.
There was a lot of timber, exactly.
In what world was Cheeky injured at halftime? Yes or no? Do we know that?
I don't think so. But
I don't think so. In what?
Did you think he was really that good?
No, but in what world does Raheem Edwards stay on the field and Cheeky's doesn't?
Well, maybe
that blows my mind.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely get into that also. I disagree with you on the Raheem. I still don't quite understand what he does.
I understand what he does. Infuriate me.
He's hungry. You can tell that he wants it a lot more than other players. But like we've said before, he's just wildly inconsistent. You can't have a player like him starting week in, week out for LAFC. Don't you dare mention my friggin' hands.
Be nice to that microphone, dude.
You're right next to him, man. He might.
Hey, if anybody has any internet skills, when we get another tight of Connor, like wringing the neck of that microphone. Can I get a GIF of that? If you're new to this, unfortunately, over the last couple of games, we've had to do this kind of therapy session. It's a lot more fun when we win, but regardless, we give instant reaction. We do it through headlines, stock up, stock down. You just kind of got our initial reactions. Connor's about to explode with anger. JR's a little bit on the fence.
Oh, no, it's in here.
I can see you're very close to exploding with anger, and I'm just trying to keep it all together because I'm the host, and if I don't,
you're doing great.
This could be horrible. And then you guys in the chat, I'm sure you. I heard there was a lot of sad face emojis.
Let us know
a lot of talk
what you
about Jesus, David, Murillo. People saying the season is trash. I feel like this whole year's been trash. I feel like the whole 18 months have been trash.
Yeah.
Not just from LAFC. I just mean the world perspective. I mean, Connor, we've already talked about your grades and your marriage and all that stuff. But let's try to have a little bit of structure to the show. Let's go to headlines. Connor, I'm going to give you a little more second to compose your thoughts. I feel like, JR, you're always my steady go-to for headlines because I feel like you're ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to you first and then Philly. So what's your headline here?
2-1 again, question mark? Damn it. That's my headline.
Simpsons headline.
Right? No, I'm kind of channeling our buddies Bone Storm, who's always doing the great Simpson memes. You got to be kidding me, man. It's like this is the third in a bad trilogy that we've had to watch play out this season. And the worst one of all is this one's at home.
Yeah, easily the worst we played against the Timbers.
Oh, my God.
Identical to
It's just so frustrating because as it was happening, you almost felt it coming. You almost saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've lost 2-1 to this team 3 times this season. Just
In
awful.
one season.
Yeah. It's awful. It's 9 points off the board that we honestly could have had all 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a. You mentioned this before when we were chatting before this. The results kind of broke our way too tonight. The results broke our way last time we played against Portland. I feel like, what more does LAFC have to do to be able to capitalize on these opportunities? Whatever shell is left of this LAFC squad that we have, just 2-1 again.
Yeah.
Really?
Good point about the shell. I mean, look, it was so interesting at halftime. I didn't have much faith in this team, but there was changes made, and Philly, to your point, they came out second half and were interesting, and were fun, and we were like, oh my God. But it was maybe less than 3 minutes later
Danny
that they were
scores.
able to
It was great.
get it
Momentum.
back to 2-1, and then you're always battling. It seems like that's the amalgamation of the season. You do a couple good things, but then you're always battling against mistakes. You're always trying to pull yourself back into it. So yeah, damn it.
Right?
It. Even just damn it would be a good
Right.
headline.
I mean, right? But
Damn it, and just somebody with like this. Oh.
Right. The 1 step forward, 2 steps back is what we've been doing all season.
Philly headline for the match.
Portland Timbers beats USL team. Duh. I mean, that's really what it is at the end of the
Drop
day.
stuff
We
off
are
like
so decimated. Do we have a man down?
Connor's just dropping
We're good.
technology.
I mean, we look. They played their hearts out today. We can't say that they did. They took their foot off the gas. These kids tried. There's no doubt that they tried. But fact of the matter is, we have a squad full of high school players and USL talent, surrounded with a little sprinkle of Chicho and Sifu and Atuesta. That's what it is. The talent that is out right now stands a better shot at getting into the playoffs than the talent that's on the field. So these kids gave a resilient effort. But at the end of the day, this is not the team that we can expect to propel us into the playoffs. We can't rely on the youth. We can't rely on so much USL talent. If you looked out there was far more USL talent on there than there was MLS talent. And that's not to say that you can't mold that USL talent into MLS, but how could you expect this team with all these young kids without that veteran leadership to go out there and beat a hot Portland Timbers team that hasn't lost a game within, at this point, their last 7?
Yeah.
That's my thought on that.
Robert in the chat is asking for a no holds barred defenders on this. So he's asking you to remove the gloves.
Yeah.
So I'm going.
Are we still family friendly?
Yeah, no family friendly. And I'm going to toss this back to you and say this: it wasn't the USL guys making the mistakes, though.
But fine. But the MLS guys certainly played down to the level of like their counterparts with the USL skill. Look, Murray had a couple of bad plays. There were several bad plays. Yes, all right. Maybe I'm being quite nice and sugarcoating.
Well, actually, maybe a couple is right, but they were the most deadly ones.
But everything. I mean, Portland's game plan came into effect. What do? They wait for a team to make mistakes. They like for the opposition to hang on and control possession. They wait for the mistakes. And what happened? You had Felipe Mora with a great chance. And what Blackman had to his side was that right post. And then the second leading scorer on Portland, Asprilla, gets a nice clear shot, gets his 8th goal of the season. The 2 guys that you had to watch out for, the 2 guys that you had to stick to like glue, those are the ones that scored the go-ahead goal. I'm happy that Danny Musovski scored. Danny Musovski, from time and time again, he proves to us that he's probably one of the best finishers on this team without a doubt. But again, I'm just beyond frustrated at the fact that we can't do anything and close out games.
Let me ask you, all the great coaches, the Nick Sabans of the world, the Bill Belichicks of the world, the Phil Jacksons of the world, it seems like it's the halftime adjustments that they make that really propel their team on to success. Why does it seem like every halftime we come out and we're getting out-coached and outplayed? Seems like I felt like
Danny Musovski is the halftime change.
Absolutely, but I feel like the way that Portland adjusted their lineup, they missed 2 or 3 sitters on crosses and headers
sitting
right out in front of their own goal. Mm-hmm. They missed several opportunities where it could have been 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1.
But so did we, no?
Yeah, not as many. I feel like the quality.
I don't think the halftime adjustments were the problem.
I just feel like
I think they're what actually propelled us forward in the game, and then we just did what we do and shot ourselves in the foot one more time.
I would argue and say that I genuinely think we deserve to win this one. I think
I don't know about that.
I think defensively there were errors.
Yes.
And like you said, there were a consistent goal threat, especially on the counter, especially almost every time they got into our final third, there was at least a shot off at the end of it. But I think for a majority of the game, we controlled the ball. That being said, we didn't necessarily do anything with it. I think coming into the end of the match, the 9 minutes of extra time. Okay, now this is the time to dig in to win the game. I just think there was a lack of talent up front where it was just a battle in the midfield for the last 9 minutes of extra time, where we should be trying to control the ball at the final third to make good decisions, where we were just playing vertical balls the entire.
It became cross city.
Yeah,
but way too early too. Like 15 minutes to go, and then you had 9 extra minutes of stoppage time. Why are you crossing the ball?
Right. But it's not just that.
Mamadou Fall crossing the ball when you're the one that's supposed to be getting on the end of that.
But
right?
you don't. I feel like there wasn't enough talent there. Like, we didn't have any options off the bench to come on and really make an impact. We had guys that could finish the ball, but not guys that could control a match at the end of the game.
Team or Bob fault, or is that because people are injured?
I mean, in a way, I think it's people are injured, but I'd hope. I've been going back and forth with this all season. I don't know whether our depth is actually good or not good. Some games it's great. Some games you're like, what are our next man ups doing?
Well, the depth isn't meant to carry us through
No.
9, 10, 12, 14, 16 games, right?
And a lot of positions
Band-Aid
are
on
now
a
not
win
just
that
the
ends a
next guy
stitch.
up. It's the next guy up.
Absolutely. Would you have thought that Micha Galina would have been playing significant minutes, starting a game
In a pivotal game.
that we absolutely needed to win to keep our playoff chances alive? Never. When you've got the line that you start out with Vela, with Rossi, and with Brian Rodriguez, you're thinking, are 3 guys going to score 20 goals this season? Are 3 guys going to get 15 and 15 this season? It's going to be an incredible run. And here we are putting a lineup together where Raheem Edwards sometimes plays striker, Michi Galina plays striker, where we're relying on Danny Musovski, where we're hoping, they should have kept Cal Jennings in the 18 instead of sending him to Vegas. Like, you're absolutely right. It's not next man. It's not even next man. It's, hey, we need to find another body. Can we check out Montverde Academy again, see if they have anybody available?
Yeah, it's like the proverbial, like, throwing things in the air or throwing the proverbial whatever to see what sticks. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, we can't rely on this talent. Look, even if we happened to claw our way into the playoffs, with this roster, we're a sacrificial lamb at the end of the day. We're not a team that's going to contest for anything. And just losing at home to a team that is not good on the road hurts. We talk about do or die. A bit of us definitely died this evening.
I'll just go into my headline. My headline
Go
would
for
be.
it. You're gonna kill that mic.
What's next?
What's
we
next?
play
Okay.
the Galaxy on Sunday. Let's say Rodriguez is back, right? Let's say some of our key components are back. I don't see us getting a result there. I don't see us being to bounce back.
Wait. Hold on, though. You said that you thought we deserved to win this game.
I do think so.
So if Rodriguez comes back, I'm just saying. What do you?
I think.
Where are you really?
This loss dampens the spirits and hopes of playoffs across the board.
Of course.
Sure.
That being said, I'll reiterate. I think we should have won it in terms of I genuinely believe we controlled the tempo and pace of the game a majority of the time compared to Portland. That being said, we just weren't clinical enough, and Brian Rodriguez has proven not to be clinical. So I'm sorry, but I don't.
Clinical against the Galaxy.
Yeah, how long ago? How many games has he played?
Well, he's
since?
only played I mean,
I'm just saying, like, Brian Rodriguez has proven not to be consistently clinical. I don't see him coming in and making a big impact. Chicho was the only bright spot for me this game. I just don't know what's next. I don't know what's next for the Galaxy game. I don't know what's next for playoffs. I just don't see a clear path to getting us back to where we should be, whether that's this season, in postseason, or even going into next season.
I mean, I would say the gap between Michi Galina, Raheem Edwards, and Brian Rodriguez, regardless of how clinical you think he is bigger than this entire stadium. But we've done a lot on the headlines. Actually, I want to throw this out to the chat, and I want to ask all you guys. I just want quick answers before we go stuck up, stuck down. You asked, what's next? Yeah. We do play the Galaxy next. If LAFC gets a result, and let's say they trounce the Galaxy, will that be a nice cherry on top of your season no matter what happens? No, we don't get into the playoffs.
No.
Or even if we just level in the playoffs, like, are we all in on the Galaxy now and we just kind of say, like, that's all I want at the end of the season?
The funny thing is there's still kind of a chance. I mean, at this point, I haven't seen the live standings, but I believe we might be 4
There is. The results all really kind of broke our way. I mean,
We could have been 1 point.
Okay, yeah, we're 4 points back from that playoff line. So to trounce Carson would be a nice thing. It would still keep us in the conversation. But, I have to echo, some college football thoughts. You take like Auburn and Alabama, for example. Either team always says, the fans always say, we can go winless all season long. But if we win the Iron Bowl, that's good enough for us. So I'll tell you this, if we can destroy Carson in their arena and shut all of them up and not make the playoffs, I'll consider that our MLS Cup this season.
I mean, keep in mind, it would be our first win at their stadium.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah, exactly.
So we beat them, right?
Yeah.
They're still above us in the standings. We may still be below the
But
playoff
that's what
line.
I'm saying.
Does it matter?
You throw
Regardless
everything
of the
else out the
rivalry.
Respectability and pride at that point.
We're throwing what out the window?
I'm just saying,
playoffs?
a lot of people feel, to Philly's point, that
Sure.
A result against your rival, especially if you can really embarrass them, is worth.
But
a bad
this is
season,
all
it's worth
this is
a
all
championship.
hypotheticals. We're not going to embarrass them. That's not going to.
We're not going to embarrass them.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying we don't have a chance of winning, but there's
Jared,
no way we're getting.
Do you have to take quickly?
A quick thought is this. All of our eggs are in the one basket of the team that we are playing that week or that match anyway, right?
Yeah.
It just means more, obviously, because it's 13 miles down the road. We have to win against Carson to salvage any type of good memories about this season.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to stock up. Philly, what was who or what was your stock up from this match?
Look, I was really shocked at the fact that Michi Galina started the match. Again, it just goes back to the idea that Bob is going to rely
DJ
on...
horns don't hit quite as well today.
It goes back to the idea that, Bob is going to let players adapt to his system. He started with them right away, and yeah, we got to see what sticks. But he was aggressive. He almost had an opportunity. He almost converted a goal. For the fact that this kid hasn't really played in Major League Soccer all that often. Sure, he did well with the Colorado Switchbacks. Mm-hmm. He was a pleasant surprise to watch because he wasn't afraid. He got in the mix. He took shots. He crossed the ball. He was aggressive. I would say that would be my stock up. It's an obvious one in my opinion, but I was pleasantly surprised with his run of form today.
Yeah. No, I don't want to hammer the kid. I mean, I think that I would have loved it if I know he was maybe just closing his eyes and being like, let me just hit this left-footed shot. I mean,
he almost made one.
To make the run, you have to give some credit for even just the run, to stay on side, to get to. I mean, if we're going to give credit, actually the pass came from Raheem Edwards.
Yeah.
It was a pretty incredible pass.
But it's
yeah, I mean, he goes from an unknown quantity to at least we kind of have a little bit better idea.
You know
what
his
he
name.
was. Yeah, and again to the point of not next man up, not even next man.
Right.
I mean, Michi
Next.
Galina is now like the fourth man and really one of the only wingers. I like that. I like that. So, JR, your stock rising.
Yeah, look, it's a Wednesday night, 7 o'clock game, right? The Banc, while they may announce that they sold all of the tickets for this match, spots where there weren't a lot of people.
Yep.
My clear stock rising, 32-52. I thought they provided the heartbeat for our players to then respond. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
And when it kept not happening, the 32-52 kept rising to the occasion. They kept the energy going. They kept the level going so that whatever you needed to find from anyone at Banc of California Stadium, because of what the 32-52 was giving, the team could have drawn from that. They did not. Mm-hmm. I've seen plenty of Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday matches where you don't quite hear the 32-52 the way that you heard them tonight. Mm-hmm. I think they speak for everybody in the chat who's frustrated right now. They speak for everybody watching this on television right now and everybody at Banc of California Stadium right now with their full-throated support and emotion and on their way home tonight, full-throated frustration, I would imagine.
Freddie agrees with you in the chat. Freddie in the chat, Philly. Michi Galina was a stock rising for people.
we like Freddie here.
Thank you, Freddie.
Big Freddie fan.
Freddie's a good guy.
Big Freddie fan.
Good people sometimes can be level-headed even in a tough moment. I like it. Level-headed in crisis. We need more of those people. Connor.
I think you think you're talking about yourself.
I'm always talking about myself.
Okay.
I'm the coolest guy on this set.
Just ask him.
Okay.
Damn's fat and
Wow, you guys all went silent, so I must
Just
be right.
ask him.
Okay, so Connor, stock rising.
Michael B. Jordan. It was cool that he was here. He was at the game.
he was in the
for those of
director's
you
box,
who
yeah.
didn't know.
He was.
At first, I was like, "Oh, yes, again, a bunch of C-list celebrities showing up to the game," and then Michael.
Whoa!
And
All
then
right now the hot takes are coming.
And then
Hot
Michael
takes-
Beecher.
hot
Okay,
takes
no.
from
I'll get to my real stock
Wait,
rising.
Hot takes from the actor. Where are you? Where do you put yourself on the graded scale list?
Probably like a T or an R.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the O with the cross
Umlaut?
through it, like the Norwegian dialect?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I'll just put it that way. It makes sense. So Michael B. Jordan.
No, really, my stock rising would be the Portland Timbers because they got 3
What?
points and they're moving up the standings and we are not.
Okay.
He's not wrong.
Wow,
They
that
haven't
was
lost
brutal.
in 7 games.
That was brutal.
They're rising up the standings and we're not.
Wow. I would like to know how the chat feels about this version of Connor, this Bizarro version. I like it. I kind of like
Bizarro?
it. Yeah, well, you're normally pretty positive, but you're
Poor
going
microphone.
wild today. I like it.
So you get, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we do have to film the back half of the show, so keep this fire. It'll be nice.
Keep the fire.
Let's move to stock falling, which I'm sure we could talk about forever and ever. I will start this because I didn't do a stock.
You're actually going to give one this time.
Yeah,
I
I'm
like
going to give one. Stock falling was, and we talked about it a little bit, the abandonment of the principles and the way in which you play so early in the match. I wouldn't even say it was 15 minutes, and it was with 15 minutes left. It was with a good 20, 25 minutes left. Where we're just cross after cross after cross, and a lot of people come to me and ask, like, why doesn't LAFC shoot more from outside the box? Why don't they cross more? There you go. They are not a crossing team. They're not set up to be a crossing team. I understand with 9 minutes of stoppage time, you want to start pinging in some crosses, maybe even run Jamal Blackman up there on a corner.
Sure.
Fine.
6-6.
But there's no reason with 25 minutes, especially with what you showed when you made those changes, that you could tear apart this. Because that goal was a nice goal.
Yeah.
Nice counter press, immediate transition, very nice finish. But then they just started going to and it wasn't even crosses under duress. It was guys getting the ball and just being like, cross it. And to who? To what?
Yeah.
How many times can you send it to the back post? So for me, that's a stock falling because I thought that when this team was good, they would hold on to their principles to the near end. Sometimes they would go cross happy, but they really just stuck to their guns. And I think that's a step. It's a real step back for them. They're going to obviously be disappointed with the result, but when they then look at how they just kind of petered out at the end, they're going to say well, guys, what were we thinking? Because then when they tried to control the ball and do those little things, they weren't prepared for it. Guys were just kind of scattered and all lining up with their hands like this, saying, just cross me the ball. So that's
I was going to give you a high five.
All right. That's my stock falling. JR, what was your stock falling from this match?
I don't think he's played a great match since his All-Star game heroics. Jesus David Murillo. This match, I feel like he's good for one a game where he has to sprint back all of a sudden. He's got to recover because he was in a bad position. And this one cost us. Mm-hmm. This one absolutely cost us the game-winning goal. I don't know if he got spun, if he got turned, if there was a foul
I
there.
was right there.
No,
he just jumped over.
Okay.
Jumped the wrong side. He tried to be too aggressive instead of maybe at a 1-1 in the middle of the field delaying and being a little bit more passive, and he jumped it, and Mora
misjudged
said,
it.
"Thank you so much. I felt that pressure," and he was gone.
Gone. It's pulling the chair, right? It's what Karl Malone used to do.
Yep.
You back him down on the post. All of a sudden, he's gone. To me, it just continues to just underscore how important Eddie Segura is to this team.
Right.
I feel like we've just missed his leadership on the back line. His incredible play, sure, but he took Murray under his wing when Murray first got here, changed the back line for us.
Yeah.
Without him, it's all falling apart.
I still think Murillo is a very good player, but let's focus back on him a little bit. So Eddie Segura will be back.
Yep.
Knowing Eddie Segura, he's probably already working very hard to get back. So I don't know, but I would assume he probably will be back by the start of next season.
Right.
You now have Murillo, Ibiaga, Tristan Blackman, Segura, Mamadou Fall,
Tony Leone, Traore.
Traore.
3 of them have to go.
There's a very serious. It's a salary cap league.
Yep.
Murray makes a decent amount of money. Should he be back? This is going to be a tough. I feel like center back is going to be probably the toughest decision that we're going to have off season, other than the Carlos.
I'll just throw this out. We seem to have invested a lot of time and money into Tristan Blackman at center back. And I think we've all seen Tristan Blackman play on the outside. That's not it for Tristan.
Yep.
He's a much better center back. I'd hate to see that time and that investment go to waste by seeing him go somewhere else, a la Walker Zimmerman, and maybe really make an impact on another team. Walker's a whole different case, but still, you watch what he's doing at Nashville. Hurts. I'm going to say that he's still one of our better 3 or 4 options, but we've seen this team be a little purse string tight And if someone has to go, whether it's midfielders, attackers, I would say I'd rather lose out on a Jesus David Murillo or trade him, get some value while he's an all-star.
Yeah.
He scored in the all-star game. There's a lot of good tape on him, right? So get something for him if we can.
Do you replace him with someone else, or are we just going to say either a Ibiaga or Blackman starts? Let's say Murillo leaves. Do we really want Blackman or Ibiaga to fill in that spot?
I mean, I'm with JR here. I think Tristan Blackman, I still am on the Tristan Blackman train. I still think he has a very high ceiling. I do think we've invested a lot into him. What we haven't done any favors to him is by saying sometimes you got to play center back, sometimes you got to play right back. Sometimes you got to play wing back. I thought that when we moved Walker along, that was the reason why Walker was being moved along, because Tristan was going to be the natural heir. Some injuries came through, and then he had to move a lot, and then that's why you end up with Murray. And then Murray was very good to end that season, but has definitely regressed. But I think we kind of went through a list like there's enough guys to replace Murray with. I don't think you necessarily have to go.
But he's such a big, physical, imposing body, and like
I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Talent that you can harness in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we should completely abandon the thought of having him on.
Let me
our
ask you
team.
this: then is it tactically should Bob say, hey, maybe don't be so aggressive. Maybe we don't play the Liverpool high line and treat him like Virgil van Dijk. Would you rather see him? Because look, the reason why Walker is thriving is because he's told to delay, win headers, don't get into situations where you're going 1v1 against Mora. Would you like to see more of that? And how does that change our team?
Well, look, you miss big, you hit big, you swing big, you miss big, the whole thing. I mean, Walker Zimmerman, watching him succeed, I'm happy to see him succeed. But obviously, it guts you because what do we end up getting? $1 million and a lot of question marks at the end of the game. I mean, Murray could still be that guy, but Murray needs somebody, like you were saying, with Eddie Segura, to put him under his wing, to kind of be there for him. Like, Murray can't be, I mean, didn't he wear the captain's armband at some point throughout the season?
Where Atuesta was out for a couple games.
So he's not in a position, he's not that type of player to take those reins. He would probably thrive a lot better with an Eddie Segura there. But, I mean, if you look at the other people, you put him against Moon, you put him against Farfan. Murray's a scary, scary individual that would strike fear in the heart of somebody like a Rui Diaz, because you know he could stand in front of Rui Diaz. Rui Diaz would bowl over all the other defenders on our team relatively easy.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. You guys can disagree with me, whoever it may be, you guys or you guys. But I think when Murray and Segura are playing side by side, they are the best center back duo in MLS, period, in my opinion. That being said, Murray without Segura, he's lost. He's somewhat the last line of defense.
It definitely was.
And making those errors, I really try not to be someone to jump on a player for one mistake.
Sure.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
But this isn't just a one-time thing. No. This has happened. Maybe it's just because of the high line, or maybe he's too aggressive.
He's asked to be in high leverage situations, but he knew it's not like he didn't know what he was getting into.
Right.
But it's just happened too much, and it's cost us. I'm not going to say that Murray cost us the playoffs, but that one split-second decision cost us greatly in the grand scheme of things. So
I don't think we'll look back at this and say there's any one moment. There's been a cascading, definitely merry-go-round of moments. But let's stay back on track here. Let's get back to Philly's stock falling.
The 2021 season. I mean, how many times are we going to hear we have the expected goal target of X? We do a lot of good things in the box. We have a lot of good ideas. We can't finish. It's the same story over and over and over again.
Vince says that all the time.
That is
all
not
the time.
True.
He says it all the time. He thinks LAFC is the best team in the world.
I literally had a conversation with Dave Denholm this afternoon and had to go over expected goals with him. What?
Yeah, but Dave Denholm's an expert.
No. He was telling me, he's like, I don't get it. So I will explain. I'm happy to break it down here. What is it that people are not understanding about expected goals?
Philly?
What is it that people aren't expecting? Look, we're expecting goals based on the kind of effort.
That's not. It's poorly named.
It is very poorly named. But, I mean, the point is, it just goes back to what Bob was saying in the press conference. You need to finish, man. And, we can find and pick a lot of positive things that happen as a result of this game. But with 7 more matches to go, with us losing at home, losing 3 points at home, it just sucks, man. For lack of a better term, it just sucks. Our 2021 season is falling down the toilet, and at the end, we have to look at it as better luck next year.
Can I just counter with exactly what you're saying is what expected goals are? So we've all been sitting here saying we can't finish, we're not sharp in the best moments. Expected goals are really just telling you that your team is creating chances that
should
historically
be leading to goals.
Should happen.
You would
Expected.
And when you look at a team like LAFC and you say, man, they're not playing well. Well, there's a lot of ways you can not play well. And all the things that we're saying is not finishing, sharpness. Now, if you were to tell me, well, they're not finishing in sharpness, and I said, well, they're not really creating anything either, then we have that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
So that's really all the expected goals are. Look, I would say this game is not, if I'm gonna guess what the number of our expected goals is for this game, it's gonna be very low. But you look at a game like the Galaxy game where we did score 3 goals. We could have scored more. I mean, they created a lot. So really, it's just about chance creation. End of the day, it's usually the more you can create, the more opportunities you have.
Right.
Usually, the more you finish.
And
sometimes it doesn't always.
And I will say this: if you look at the trajectory of our season, as the gap between goals and expected goals have widened, because it's happened all season now, that's the frustration level of what this fan base is feeling, right? Because that gap, you're 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 expected goals better than you play.
Yeah.
As the season rolls on, that's that frustration level that we're all feeling.
And let me be clear again. Having a good expected goals total means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. It doesn't get you any points. It doesn't get you anything. Having a good goal differential usually means you get points, but it also means nothing at the end of the day. However, when your team is playing poorly, you want to at least have something to say, we create chances, because creating chances are, aside from goals, are the hardest thing to do in this game. So you're one step away. Yeah. That's why we still harp on it when we say, man, if we could just finish, we would probably be a good team.
But that brings up a bigger point, and it may not be
expected goals against is actually very good too. But it goes to our point about mistakes.
That's the thing. It throughout this season and last season, the biggest problem for us was not finishing our chances. I'll piggyback off of you and say it feels like Groundhog Day. Every Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah, just one. Yep.
Just one, not a bunch of them.
Actually, I've been to Punxsutawney, and there's multiple groundhogs. They've lied to you your entire life. There's not one fill.
But we're always talking about finishing our chances. So I'll agree with Vince and say that LAFC does play good football. You know, we do create chances. We do control the games at times. I'm not saying every game because it's been inconsistent this season, but it's been very good, and we can't complain about that. But if you're not getting the results, what's the problem? And I don't know that answer, because if I did, we wouldn't be sitting here. I would be hanging out with John Thorrington right now.
And Bob Bradley. I've got a thought too.
I'd love to hang out with those guys instead.
I wouldn't.
I feel like the movie we've watched all season is that whoever we are playing is able to capitalize on that one glaring mistake that we make. Right? And it just seems like the other team makes mistakes. And the frustrating part is we're not able to capitalize by putting a ball in the back of the net. We're able to capitalize by creating a chance, creating an expected goal. But our season, we mentioned this in pregame, the margin for error seems like it's been so razor thin that for me, it's so frustrating because the other teams are capitalizing on that one, the Murray ball, the Mamadou Fall header that goes right to...
The football tilts to one side or the other.
Right.
But either a team that creates a lot of chances, knowing that in doing so, you need to take risks.
Right.
And when you take risks, you're probably going to give up at least one good chance, right? LAFC definitely falls on that side. Portland is on the other side, where they say, we're not going to commit numbers forward, and we're going to hope to capitalize on one mistake.
Right.
The problem with LAFC is they create a lot of chances, don't get the goal, keeps that margin low. Then they create the mistake, and that really kills your margin.
Yeah.
And
but in a way, the problems are always up and down. Each game's kind of a different problem. Chicho, we brought him in to be that goal scorer, to be that clinical finisher, and he's actually proven to be that clinical finisher. So questions.
Shut him down then.
But what happens is we get 2 goals, and then the defense is the problem. Every single game,
You're playing
it's a
whack-a-mole
different
with
problem.
issues, right? You're
Exactly.
putting out fire
It's
after
either
fire.
the defensive mistake, a poor tactic choices from Bob, just lack of good
What are
depth.
the poor tactic choices?
Poor tactic choices. The substitutes. Right.
The substitutes came in and scored you a goal.
I'm not talking about Danny Musa. I'm talking about, for example, Raheem Edwards. Why the frick
I'm
is he
not.
still
I'm
on
not
the
really
team?
hammering you. I'm hammering most people. I love when people say the tactics were wrong and never offer an explanation of what those tactics were.
Yeah.
We could talk about the high line. We could talk. I'm just going to use that because it's your example. But we could talk about formation changes when you don't need to change the formation at times. I'm not talking about this game, but there's some games. And look, my big point is, regardless of what issue it is, every single game it feels like it's a different issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some games we score 3 goals and then we still lose. I said it in the pregame. We score 1 goal, we can't stay out the match. We score 2 goals, we can't stay out the match. We score 3 goals, we can't stay out the match. What can you do? It's been a consistent problem, and I don't know what that answer is because there's such a large amount of different problems.
Right.
Anyway, my stock down. I've been talking about.
geez. Hey.
I've been talking about LAFC.
Well, you're not going to be able to beat your stock up. Everyone loved your Michael B. Jordan stock up. So you better come with some fire
He
here.
didn't even acknowledge the fact that the camera was on him the entire time, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's in the director's box. He had a great time. Probably talking about his next movie.
My stock down is Michael B. Jordan
3-4.
because he was here and we no.
Yeah, he's never allowed back.
He's never allowed. I was talking about LAFC, and we could all be here and say stock down LAFC for numerous reasons, but I'm going to say it was the referees. They let Portland play the dirty game that they wanted to play. They let Portland waste time. And the officiating calls were wildly inconsistent throughout the game. Certain fouls
changed, right? To your point
exactly,
earlier.
it changed. Joe Dickerson. Some fouls. Oh, not even a foul. Some fouls. That's harsh. Yellow card. It was wildly inconsistent, threw off the entire tempo, the entire pace of the game, especially leading into those last 15 minutes. Portland just took control of the game, did whatever the hell they wanted, and the refs kind of did. And in a way, LAFC kind of played into that. They kept committing fouls, so Portland were able to waste time. And then what could the ref do? So I think I don't like blaming the refs for results, because at the end of the day, it's your job to get the result.
Not the reason we lost, but definitely did not.
Definitely, this is one game where I was really frustrated.
And look, if you tuned in on the LAFC app to our pregame show, the one thing that I mentioned is that we had to match their physicality. So we matched their physicality, and then the refs pull the rug out from under us and start calling it differently.
Yeah.
That was, I hate to be the guy that blames the refs after a loss, right? But the match was clearly officiated differently after we matched their physicality. I thought the first 15, 20 minutes, it was fine, right? It was a physical match. We were getting into it. They were getting into it. But that's fine. But after the first 20 minutes or so, then they started officiating it differently. And now all of a sudden we have to change our style when we've been working on one way for the last 3 or 4 days of training.
Well, the cheeky Palacios yellow card for me is the most egregious. A ball is bouncing in the air. He's clearly playing the ball more, runs through his leg, and he gets a yellow card. It just goes to show you how wishy-washy. Look, I have my thoughts on Joe Dickerson. I knew when I saw he was going to be the referee, I was not excited because he always seems to be in over his head. But to our point, that's not the reason we lost, but it did make the game much
more unbearable to watch.
It was very tough. Okay, so we're kind of winding down here. I hope you guys in the chat, this has helped you out a little bit. We're going to go through our final thoughts. Final thoughts hopefully aren't that our season's over, but maybe they are. I don't want to put anything in your head. I'm going to go to you first, Connor, because you're still hot right there. You're like bouncing around. What's your final thought here?
I'm bouncing around. My final thought is, I don't think it was the worst game we played all season.
Don't think it was the best game we played all season.
Don't think it's the best game all season, but
come on. What do you got? Bring the fire, man. Did you run out?
It was unbearable to
You got
watch.
gas?
No, it was unbearable to watch. Like I said, from top to bottom, whether it was LAFC themselves, whether it was Portland just being absolute dicks the whole game, or it was the referee Joe Dickerson himself, bingo, just making poor calls.
That's not how you play bingo.
Philly doesn't matter if I was going to say.
Now I
No,
understand.
but it was
Don't get in his head.
you know, out of a season with terrible games to watch all year, this was one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
As
You just want us to put you out of your misery.
Just
at this
kill me.
point. Whoa, dark. You're way too young for that. I'm gonna go to JR. Just settle down there.
Don't touch me.
I've got a quick thought, and that's that the Colorado Rapids have not lost in their last 10, and that seems to coincide with acquiring Mark-Anthony Kaye. 5 wins, 5 draws, no losses. I think that some of this subtraction...
I mean, that's one of my many fan clubs. I got the Dan Jankovic fan club, the Mark.
Why are we talking about Mark-Anthony Kaye?
Here's my issue. This team...
He'd be nice to have right now.
Yeah, he would.
The pieces that we have subtracted seems to have hurt us a lot more than just even the results on the pitch.
Sure.
I feel like this team feels less like a team this season and more of like an island of misfit toys, right? Like we had talked about this earlier. These are a lot of parts that you see that weird doll from Toy Story, right? It's got a leg from one doll. It's got a head from another. I feel like that's us this season.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's just say that
time for LAFC 2.0 full rebuild.
Well,
Three
LAFC
DPs.
and Bob Bradley pride themselves on building a squad that's very connected, very. They take player personality heavily into account. And so, to your point, if it's disjointed, why is that? If that's
and leaders on and off the pitch, right? Yeah. Leaders on and off the pitch. It's frustrating. You see people like Walker and Tyler Miller and Mark-Anthony Kaye and now Steven Beitashour that are doing so well for their respective clubs, and you also know so much about them being leaders off the pitch. And I just wonder right now, who's that leader off the pitch for us? Who's that galvanizing force in the locker room that after the 3 or 4 coaches go out, that everybody is still left there? Who's the one bringing everybody together and saying, guys, we are still in this. We are 5 points away from Carson, 4 points away from the playoff line. Our season, while tonight sucked, isn't anywhere near over. I just want to know who that person is.
I'll tell you who that person is. It's Chicho Arango. And the reason why I mention that is because when they conceded that goal towards the end of the first half, when Yimi Chara had that little shot that went past Jamal Blackman.
One more time.
The first
Thank you.
The first person to get up there, wave his hands, and try to pump up the team was Chicho. No one's going to talk about that because it didn't appear on the stat line. Nobody might have even paid attention to it because they were busy downing their drinks and sulking. But he was there trying to rally the troops. So if there's anybody that's going to become that leader, it would be that guy, the leading scorer of our team. And so that gave me a little bit of hope. This game and this season, very frustrating. We can't look at the rearview mirror anymore, all right? We had a USL squad that played against a very solid Portland team. Portland is good at this point, all right? They are, despite how much they piss us off.
Is that now 8 unbeaten for them?
Yeah, again, we haven't beaten
6
them.
6 more wins?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, the streak that they have. Again, we haven't beaten them since September of 2020.
Yeah.
But we're going in to Carson in a few days. If we don't make the playoffs, and even if we do, we're a sacrificial lamb. This isn't a team that's going to go far. I don't care if Carlos Vela comes back to LAFC for this season. I don't think he's going to be the difference maker. It's Chicho's team. Carlos Vela is going to have to find his position on this team. But if we go to Carson and we just kill them and just stick it to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a little bit of, I feel a lot better, though.
You're going to pull a muscle at your age.
No, I'm not going to pull a muscle. If we could stick it to Carson and just continue on with their losing streak, I would say that would give me a little bit of consolation in this really dark season. And I think they can do it. Carson doesn't look very good. They got their butts kicked again today. And I don't see any reason why we can't go 13 miles down the 110 and give them another bit of the how's your father.
10.
You know what? On that plug, I think we should wrap it up here. I think that was a good final thought. Am I stepping on anything for you? That was pretty solid.
No,
that was good.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, all right. Well, that's it for us, guys. Like I said, we try to take you through this. But here's what we got coming up for the rest of the week. On Friday, it's going to be the Max and Vince podcast, and that's actually crossing out Max. It's going to be Connor and Vince podcast.
The
Max will be
CVP.
away for that one. Sunday, as we've been talking about, it's going to be the big one. It's away days. We'll be hosting pre and post from Carson, from Dignity Health Sports Park. I probably don't even need to tell you that that's happening because that's the one game you've really got circled coming up. And then Tuesday, Max and I are back. Unfortunately, Connor, Max will really be back. But don't forget about the big show, guys. That's on Friday. We actually got to get out of here because Connor and I got to be up really early in the morning to record all that for you. So check us out, LAFC's YouTube page for that. You guys have been great. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Thank you for letting us kind of take you through this. Again, it's off to Carson. There's still a little bit to play for, but the margins are thin, so we got to get out there and get behind our team. We will see you guys in Carson. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Can someone buy me